It's not French approved.
I'm a bit lost.
Ooh, that's not good.
Then it should trip.
It should, yeah.
Greetings! I've got a bit of a different one for you today because I'm going on a road trip to do a fault find with an electrician in France. Yes, that's right, I'm here in my little Fiat 500 ready to take you guys for a little journey across the Mediterranean countryside to see what electrical fault finding is like here in France. So, hit a like and subscribe if you haven't done so already, and let's hit the road. Let me explain what I'm doing today. I am going to visit a French electrician who is a subscriber of our channel and reached out to us because he does a lot of solar, battery, renewable installations around the south of France, which is near where I'm living now in Marseille. So I'm heading over to Aix-en-Provence to visit a little fault find that he's got on a tripping RCD for a solar install, but I'm a bit lost. I've pulled into a little side lane because we are in the middle of nowhere here, surrounded by vineyards with red kites flying around and lots of beautiful scenery, but I'm a bit lost as to where I'm going. So I'm gonna just check Google Maps once more and then see if I can find it. Right, well, I am completely lost and it's taken me to a road that's actually closed because of the danger of fires because it's so dry out here. So I'm in danger of getting moved on at any point, but I've just touched base with the guy I'm going to meet and he's given me a pin to follow. So I'm going to jump back on the road and see if I can find him. Okay, so Francois has very kindly stopped for me and I found him in the middle of nowhere, surrounded by cork oak trees. But we're on the road now, heading in the right direction, and we should be there in about 10 minutes. I made it! Eventually, after getting very lost.
Yeah.
This is Francois.
Hi there.
Francois, fellow Artisan Electrician, and he's had me driving all across the beautiful Provençal countryside to get to this amazing property in the middle of nowhere where we're going to be doing a little bit of fault finding on a solar install.
Yes.
But Francois was just telling me a little bit about his van, so why don't you tell the audience what's going on with your van? Looks like a complete mess.
Yeah, it's a complete mess because I just sold the other one and I just got this one, so I just started to do the shelves. When it's gonna be finished, it will look like this. So yeah,
That's a work of art.
Yeah, I really plan to install like a microwave, a coffee machine and a fridge.
Oh, it looks really good. But it's a work in progress, right?
Yeah, that's a work in progress. So I've been following Jordan for the past few years. I think I think the first video I've seen, you hired Corey.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah, so that was like 3 years ago.
Yeah, 3 years ago. That's amazing.
Like I'm an electrician like him, but then I think I switched almost 4 years ago completely from like installing EV charger and solar panels because it's really booming here.
Yeah, we'll talk about that, the business insights of running a business in the south of France. I'm quite intrigued. Énergie renouvelable.
Renouvelable, that's it.
Listen to the sound of the cicadas. It's just amazing. I love that sound. It's like holiday sound. So what's the story with this job that we're going into?
Well, I've done that installation about 2 years ago. The client called me a few days ago saying that apparently it's been 6 months that as soon as it rains, as soon as the weather is humid, the RCD is tripping. So that's a Solax inverter.
Wow, very nice.
So is it neat?
It's neat. I like it. Look at this. Yeah. Nice bit of trunking with the... Oh, I love how you've done the little detail around the holes. So talk me through your process. What are you thinking?
So, well, that's the culprit. So that's the RCD, so the type B. So in France, it's compulsory to have a type B when batteries are involved. It should be the same in England.
Type A, I think, is minimum in the UK actually, not Type B at the moment, but I think it's going that direction. So, do you think it's going to stay on if you try and reset it?
Well,
yeah.
well, I think so, because so now it's booting.
Okay.
But the problem appears only when it's raining or when there is like humid weather. Usually it does that when it's a 30 milliamp, but that's a 300 milliamp, so that's very, very intriguing.
So just to explain this, then this is the feed for the inverter, right?
Yeah.
So this is going just into the inverter. So you've literally got a cable from here into the inverter, and then the PV is there going into the inverter as well, right?
Right, so we're gonna open that. So that's called the mate box.
Ah, see, I've never seen one of these before, so tell me what this is.
Yeah, so this allows to have power when you have a power cut. Obviously, all inverters, all micro inverters should actually cut off power as soon as there is a power cut, in order not to electricize, obviously, the electricians that are working on the line.
This is the equivalent of like a Tesla gateway or something. We have the backup gateways where essentially it allows you to have backup power in the event of a power cut, and it's a grid disconnect, kind of automatic grid disconnection.
And the particularity of this one is that you've got the full backup of the house.
So this is the first time I've seen that with a Solex system. I didn't even know that they did that, and I don't know if the mate box is available in the UK. It might only be a European thing.
Well, actually, technically, the mate box is not French approved.
Oh, really?
Yeah, actually, because I didn't know that.
Yeah.
It's like we've got electricity inspections every time you do a solar installation, or if you do a completely new electrical install, you need to call the consuel, which is an electrician association. They are not for profit. They are just checking that it's safe for the people, for the materials, so there is no fire or things like
so
this.
they physically come out and check every installation?
Yeah.
That's really good. So what are you thinking in order to try and figure out the issue? What would your process be?
Well, we are going to remove that, and I am going to do an insulation test with a micrometre. Then we can have a look also at the panels on the roof.
Well, let's dive in a bit deeper and see what's inside, eh? Okay, so you put some tape over. What is, is the red?
Yeah,
it should
the
be
red,
brown right now in France?
No, it's actually, I mean, for the face, it's normally red, or brown, or black.
Okay, yeah.
But now the main thing is red.
Okay, interesting.
And neutral is always blue. The earth is always yellow and green.
Same as UK, yeah. Ooh, there we go, those are the contactors there, eh?
Yes.
They're pretty chunky.
So instead of actually feeding the main switchboard, now it goes directly to this one, which is like 63 amp. So the main feed of the house actually powers that part of the contactor. So that's the load. All the house is here.
What was this one doing?
Yeah, that's the RCD for the off-grid section. So, so this one is when he's actually feeding, but if I do a power cut, then it's going to be like...
There we go.
And then we should have power back. So it's called EPS, Emergency Power System. That's called interdifferentiel.
Ah, yes, this is good. So RCD.
RCD means interdifferentiel.
Interdifferentiel.
Yeah.
This one, MCD.
And this one is a disjoncteur.
Disjoncteur, okay. And then that's also a disjoncteur?
Yeah,
that's a double pole?
Yeah, double pole disjoncteur.
How do you say double pole in French?
Bipolar.
Bipolar. Okay, that's not very politically correct. I don't think we could say that in the UK. I'm learning all the French words, the electrical words. I need to improve on that. So this is the DC surge protection for the PV. So is this an actual MCB, like a disjoncteur, or is it just a switch?
Yeah, it's just a switch, and it's a DC switch, like DC PV1.
Yeah, that's nice. I like. I like this setup, it looks very neat. So how many kilowatt hours of batteries have we got here?
So they are both like 5.8 kilowatt hours, so that's about 12.
Okay, nice. And so this is the DC breaker for the batteries. So you've got the battery cables coming in here, and then they're just connected in series, are they?
Yes, they are in series, yes.
And then through there into the inverter here.
Those ones, they are not really good with cold, because in winter time it might be below freezing. So at some point the client called me and say, well, they are not charging well, and I say, well, you wanted to put them in outside, which is actually good.
Yeah.
Because as Artisan Electrics, I don't like to put it, but I think in France it's forbidden to put it in the attic.
Oh, good. I'm glad.
Yeah.
The French are much more sensible than the British. We've only just made it naughty to put them in the loft now.
Yeah, in the loft. You don't say the attic, you say the loft.
Loft. Attic is more of an American term, I think. Loft is more of the British way of saying it.
Oh, okay. So for the French regulations, it's when you go above 15 kilowatt hour of batteries that you need a separate room with the smoke alarm and also with a drain in case of fire.
Okay. Interesting.
Because I was a bit in a rush, I didn't find my proper micrometre, so that's a cheap one from Alibaba.
Alibaba. So really it's the inverter that's tripping when it's damp, basically.
When it's damp, yeah.
Do you think that moisture could be getting into the inverter?
I don't think so.
Because it's very sheltered under here, isn't it?
It's very sheltered, and it's also IP65.
Yeah. I suppose it could also be the mate box potentially, but again, it's very well sealed. There's no holes in the top or anything like that. Unless there's like a rat that's crawled in there and chewed on the wires. We're in the countryside, I mean, you never know. Do you use flexible conduit like this a lot in France?
Yeah. In England, you don't have that at all? No, it's just rigid?
We don't really use conduit much unless it's like industrial applications. Then we use like commercial or industrial applications, we use rigid PVC conduit or rigid galvanized steel conduit. There we go, okay. So the conduit is just protecting it before it gets into the trunking, and then from there it's loose.
Obviously, because the inspection, they don't want you to have wires that goes without the conduit. You can have cable, but not wires. Cool. This is considered the cable, so it's fine because it's double insulated.
Do you have any kind of regulations about maintenance with electrical installations in France? Like, do you have to do checks every 3 years or 5 years?
No, we don't have to do checks.
Not like EICRs in the UK.
Yeah, no. In France, it's very flexible. Because I also worked in Switzerland, and in Switzerland it's like you also have every couple of years, 3 years, 4 years, you have to have an inspection.
Good old Alibaba.
I have to unlock it.
Rotate it, yeah, of course.
So this is the main, so that's normal that it's still on. Yeah, but we've got a lot of electronics, so that's why we've got the...
the short between the line and neutral. So how come you speak such good English?
Well, I left home when I was 19. I went to London. After that, I went to Scotland. I even got the accent at some point.
Yeah.
Like, on yonder hill, there stood a coup. It's not there now. It's gone away.
That's brilliant.
It's like on the top of the hill, there stood a cow. It's not there now. It's gone away.
So all of our Scottish viewers in the comments, let us know if you approve of Francois' Scottish accent. I think it's quite impressive. Yeah, the trouble is now, because it's dry, there's no fault. Only when it's raining. You need to come back when it's raining.
No, but I am pretty sure that that's the problem.
The RCDs, just too sensitive.
Most suppliers in France, they still sell setups like this with 30 milliamp.
Yeah.
And it always trips when it's raining. Always, always, always. You also set 30 milliamp?
Yeah, we have 30 milliamp as standard in the UK. We never have 300 milliamp. But it will only trip if there's an actual issue where the water is in somewhere, you know, usually. You have an earth rod or something?
There is an earth rod.
Okay, so it's what we call TT.
TT, yeah. We are in TT.
Terra.
Yeah.
Okay, which is why you have an upfront 500 milliamp RCD as the main switch.
Yeah.
For every property. Yeah, that makes sense. So every house is Terra TT?
Every house, except hospitals.
Okay.
Actually, Solax, they recommend, it's written on the manual, they recommend 100 milliamp.
So in the UK, we would not normally put an RCD on an inverter unless it's recommended in the manufacturer's instructions. But because you've got TT, you have to put an RCD on every circuit.
I'm gonna turn back. Always check, because sometimes I have that problem, like the rating in amp. But the maximum input is 40 amp, okay. And that's 32 amp. So that's why now I'm really trying to buy the 63 amp
RCDs.
Always RCDs.
Yeah. This is AT brand. Never heard of it.
Yeah. Well, obviously, that's a Chinese brand. You would get like from the main suppliers in France, which is Legrand, Hager, and Schneider. A Type B like this would cost 400, 500 euros.
Yeah,
easy.
that's true. Yeah, we have the same issue in the UK, which is probably why we don't use Type B very much. But you can get like a fuse box one, which is probably the equivalent, like quite cheap, for maybe 80 to 100 pounds, I guess, which is a quarter of the price. Still quite a lot, but it's affordable at least.
Yeah.
So you've done an insulation test, right? And it's all came out fine.
Yeah, for the wires between there and there, because actually that's protecting only the inverter. Now that's RCD tests, so let's see what we have. 0.5, 3. See, obviously it's not tripping because this is meant for 30 milliamp thing and below. So
but it should trip at 300, right? Because
and we don't have 300 there.
I think that's 500, 300.
You think?
Yeah, that would be 30 milliamps. That would be 300 milliamps. That would be that would be 100 milliamps. That's 10 milliamps. 10, 30, 100, 300, 500.
Yeah, you would think so, yeah?
Yeah.
Then it should trip.
It should, yeah. Is there another RCD we can test it on?
Yeah,
can we test it on this one?
Yeah, we can test this one. Oh, see, it's not working. This one is not working.
Does it light up if there's power?
I think so. Yeah, see, it lights up if there is power.
Yeah, so the power's not coming out of it.
Yeah, because that's the off-grid one, so it works only when it's
only
off-grid.
works in off-grid mode.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
So if I do this, now it should actually work. Now we've got power. See, we've got power, and it should trip at 0.03. No.
Yeah.
You think we can?
I don't trust your test. Just to explain, Francois, you came off holiday yesterday, right?
Yes.
And you're going back on holiday tomorrow?
Yeah, I'm going back tomorrow. Yeah, I'm in between.
So he would usually have his full tool set up with his multifunction tester and everything. But because you're literally in between holidays, you're just kind of a little bit disorganized
today. I was excited to see Jordan and to show what I do.
We can try the test button on it now at least. Yeah.
Yeah, it's working.
It does. Works with the test button. And usually if it works with the test button, it'll work with the leakage test. Oh. Ooh. That's not good. So there's no voltage to earth.
Yeah, there's no, that might be it.
So that might be the issue. Try to the neutral just to see if there's a polarity issue. Yeah, polarity.
No, but it's not polarity. Now we've got 230 with neutral.
Yeah, so the neutral is live.
But that's not good.
No, exactly. So
that's not good.
This could be, we could be getting somewhere here. Can you test that in here as well to see if it's the same? Because then maybe there's a polarity
reverse
fault on the supply. Maybe
that's the main supply.
Yeah. So then go from the blue to earth. No, there it's okay.
Yeah. So the neutral and earth, it's okay because this is continuity. And here we should also get 230.
Yeah.
And we got them.
So it's okay there where it comes in, but somewhere there's a reverse in the polarity. Black and blue, red and red, black and blue. So they're not the wrong way round or anything. Just check on the top side of the RCD as well, just to make sure that it's the same on the incoming side of the RCD. Sorry, I'm telling you what to do now.
Yeah, of course. So
I'm getting excited about. Yeah, there we go. So test it on this side now. Okay, so yeah, it's also wrong there. Ah, look, it's wrong here. It's here. They're the wrong way around.
it's here.
But that might just be from when you disconnected it earlier. Maybe you put them back in the wrong way.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Okay. So now that the fault is rectified with the polarity, maybe the RCD test will work. And if you try it to earth. Hey! There we go. Alright.
So that's a
The tester
300,
does work.
yeah.
Yeah.
Because if we do that and then 30 milliamp,
It won't do anything. Oh,
it does too.
interesting.
So maybe
It's
you
too
see,
sensitive.
Maybe it became too sensitive.
Yeah. So if you try with 10 milliamps. No, okay. At 30 it does. Yeah. So that's too sensitive. And this is why you should buy €400 Hager RCDs instead of €40 Chinese ones.
Well, that wasn't for the 40 euros. It was more than
Probably 100 or something.
No, yeah, it was 150 or something like that. Yeah,
it's not cheap still. I think we've figured out the problem, because I didn't understand why would the inverter be tripping on a 30 milliamp RCD, and you said this commonly happens when it's damp.
Yes.
And I'm like, but the inverter's dry, it's not getting wet. What is the problem? But because you're bonding the panels.
Exactly. Yeah.
You're connecting an earth wire between all the panels and then down into here. Is this one of these?
Yeah,
coming
they're
from
all
the panels?
together. They're all together. See, all the MC4 arrives.
Yeah, they all come in here. So from each string, basically, you've got an earth wire. You've got 2 earth wires.
Yes, exactly.
And that is why we do not bond panels in the UK, because it just causes problems.
It does, yes, it does.
And it's pointless, really, because nobody's going to get up there and touch them in normal conditions anyway, right? So why do they need to be bonded? I mean, maybe
especially
you can explain that.
You can see the double square.
Yeah, they're double insulated.
Yeah, they're double insulated, but the French requirement, they want the solar panels to be earthbound.
I think there's a reason for it, and it's not to do with electrical safety as much as to do with radio frequencies. Because we had a few subscribers who are like radio nerds, amateur radio nerds. They've got like a radio shack at the bottom of the garden where they listen to radio and stuff. And they said, oh, my neighbour had solar panels put up and now I can't hear any signal. It's like messed up the radio frequencies.
Yeah.
Because I think it's like a massive antenna basically on the roof or something. And so they said, oh, it should be earthed. And then it will solve the problem. While you're putting this all back together, I want to talk about money. A lot of people ask me, are we going to set up Artisan Electrics branch in France? Because I'm living in France now, people are wondering, do I have a plan to set up a branch here in France? And in a way, I would love to, because, it's a cool place. There's lots of beautiful properties around here in the south of France, and, it could be a new niche for us to tap into for like electrics in luxury properties, luxury villas in the south of France. I love the idea of it. But tax is an issue in France. So tell me about that, Francois, because you were saying earlier there's different statuses and stuff, but how much tax do you have to pay?
Yeah, I basically pay 46% on everything I earn, like 46%. What I want as an income.
Income tax, that is crazy.
It's not income tax because that's on the top. At the end of the year, you also have income tax, and I also have like a company tax.
Okay, so
that's basically the charges which pays for the social security, but also your retirement plan.
Okay, that's the 46%.
Yeah, it's all mixed up all together.
How that works in the UK is a little bit different, but kind of similar. Is that if my business has some spare money or whatever, I can take it as a salary. There's different tax rates depending on how much you earn. There's that, and then all the other alternatives, I can pay myself dividends from the company, and then you pay tax on dividends, which is about 20%, I think. But the company pays corporation tax on all the profit it makes. So if my company makes 100,000, I pay corporation tax on that, which is I think 19%.
All right.
So 19,000 I have to pay to the taxman. And then if I pay what's left to myself as a dividend, I also personally have to pay tax on that. So it's probably about 40% when you add it all up. But it's still not, because you said you've got 46%, and then you've got
the income tax, which is roughly the same. You've got brackets 10, 20, 30, 40.
You have to pay that, and then you pay it yourself again.
Then you pay, at the end of the year, you pay another tax, the income tax.
Yeah. So more than half, like a lot more than half of what you earn is actually going in tax, right?
Yeah.
Realistically.
Yeah. But actually, in Europe, France is the most taxed country after Norway.
Yeah.
That's why
this is not financial advice, but it's really interesting to see how things are done in other countries. I mean, does that mean realistically then that you just need to charge more to enable you, because your percentage that you end up with is a lot less, you just need to charge more to get what you need, which pushes the prices up for everyone, I guess.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy. France it's not good for that, yeah.
Right. Enough talking, let's get back to work. So we finished the fault finding down here. We think that it's the RCD, but we're going to get up on the roof, and first we'll get the drone up and have a little overview, and then Francois is going to take me up on the roof and show a few aspects of solar on a French roof. So tell me about safety on roofs in
France.
In France, because you were asking about scaffolding, and
I
said that we usually do scaffolding here.
Yeah, on your videos I've seen scaffolding everywhere, and here it's true that we don't really do it. I mean, in the north they would, because you know, like all the roofs are very slopey.
Yeah.
But here they are not. They are quite flat. Then you just lift a tile and you tighten yourself to a beam, and that would do it.
I'm going to just protect Francois' modesty for a second while he puts the harness on. I wanted to say, who do you think Francois looks like? Because he reminds me of a famous film star, and I want you guys to let us know in the comments. I've got an idea in my head. I think he's a spitting image of quite a well-known film star, but maybe I'm completely wrong, so let me know your thoughts in the comments. He's so handsome.
I must have a deeper voice. Here you cannot actually lift the tiles, because it's like they are not there for waterproofing.
Okay, they're just for looks, basically. Lead the way.
Yeah. So just realize that now with the company we are putting conduits every time, because I just see that now there is no conduit for that. I think because it's here, it's because I couldn't pass it underneath, because otherwise...
Oh yeah, you see the DC cables there.
Yeah, those are the DC cables.
But they're fine to be exposed to UV and stuff anyway.
Yeah, they are actually UV proofed.
Yeah.
And the good thing is that if you break one here, it doesn't matter, because
it's so easy to replace, I guess.
Yeah, because
they're just glued on, basically.
Yes, they are just glued on.
So how do you mount the panels to this kind of roofing system? You just drill through?
Yeah, once you remove I mean, you must remove a couple of tiles to know where the beams are located. Once you know where the beams are located, then you can trace them with a line, and then you would just drill with those screws that are meant for solar panels.
And you've got the earth wire here. Do you have a bonding clamp that goes onto every panel or something?
Yeah. Here you had a piece of metal with dents. You have to put it in the frame, between the frame and the rail, and then each rail should be connected to earth.
Complicated. I'm glad we don't have to earth ours. You have to take one of these tiles off and then loop yourself in.
Well, here you can't do it actually. No. Here you have to, once you remove one, you can do several screws.
Okay.
And you can tighten yourself directly to the screws.
Yeah. Do you have a health and safety inspector, whoever could come out and check if you're working safely or not?
Well, that would be just for the employees.
Yeah.
Not for the boss. and I think it's mostly for scaffolds. Yeah.
Yeah. Intriguing. So what's the potential issue that we're looking for up here?
it's been a bit more than 2 years that I've done the installation. It's important to just make sure that all the bolts are tightened, that no panel is broken. So do you have roof like this in the UK when it's like, you know, like a curved plate thing that you put for waterproofness, and then you would put fake tiles on it?
No, I've never seen that in the UK.
No?
I don't think it exists. All look good?
Yeah, all look good.
How do we get up to the next roof?
I used to put the ladder there.
Okay, yeah, and then up there.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's give it a go.
I think I can go directly to the rail.
So you tied yourself onto the solar rail. That's a nice solution.
Yeah, most people would do that in France, huh? Once it's done.
See, the panels are quite dusty actually. I guess they're difficult to clean because the pitch is quite low.
I mean, you also propose the client a contract. I don't know if you do that.
Yeah.
Every year to clean them.
Do you do that yourself, or do you have a contractor who does it for you?
No, I do it myself.
Yeah. I was just asking Francois how he copes with the heat here, because it's pretty hot, and I recorded this already, but I was recording in slow-mo stupidly, so I'm going to say it again. You were saying that you need like 8 litres of water a day, right, in this kind of heat?
Well, here, right now, we don't have a heat wave.
Just so you know, it's 29 degrees right now,
Yeah.
but it's not a heat wave. Heat wave would be like 40.
Yeah, it would be like 40, yeah.
Yeah, so this is just nice actually, but when you're up, you know, on a roof in this heat all day, you are sweating a lot. As you can see, we're a bit sweaty.
Yeah, and even if you drink 1 bottle or 2 bottles, it's not enough.
No, yeah. So staying hydrated, and you said you've had problems with kidney stones because
Kidney stones,
of not drinking enough water?
Yeah, yeah.
Don't want to get kidney stones. Drink water, kids. So Francois was just saying you can't hide the cables with these roofs because there's no way to go through them. It's not like you can lift tiles because they're basically like a corrugated sheet, and then these tiles are just decorative. So that's why they've just had to run the cables on the surface here. Obviously it doesn't look as nice as if you were to hide them in some way, but it's kind of impossible on this type of roof, other than maybe running them in a bit of flexible conduit. That would neaten it up slightly, but you'd still see it. Francois, it's been awesome.
Oh, yeah, we should have a nice couple of pints now.
Oh, a couple of pints. I like that idea. Can you find a good pint anywhere around Aix-en-Provence?
Well, I think we'll find it. We'll find some. Yeah.
Sounds like a guy who knows. So leave a thumbs up for Francois if you think that you've enjoyed this video and enjoyed getting to know him a little bit. I certainly have. Thanks for inviting me out. And we'll sign off over a nice cold bevy. Well, we've made it to...
We've made it, yes, finally.
To the beer, the nice cold beer. We're here in Aix-en-Provence, which is the centre, and it's absolutely beautiful.
Picturesque.
It is, yeah, lots of tourists, and we're here to have a nice cold beer and a bite to eat before I head home. So thank you for bringing me along with you on this
Anytime,
adventure.
Jordan, anytime.
Let us know in the comments, guys, if you've enjoyed this. I know it's a little bit different, but if you have, I'd love to come back and do a second follow-up episode with Francois to maybe look at some other interesting projects, because I think you've got a lot of cool stuff to see. So let us know if you'd like to see that in the comments. Either way, we really appreciate you watching. And why not sit back and watch a couple of videos that will pop up on the screen after this now.